it is more enjoyable to do positive review things, which is the majority of what I do. But sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes there's just such bad takes out there that you've got to call them out, and chips fall where they may. It's not, and I'm fine if people want to trash me too. So,
what has been the worst take that you've heard where you just can't believe you said that?
There was, I don't remember her name, but she was on the, Reason Magazine. They have some podcasts, and I do enjoy them because they give me a lot of fodder, but also that's not the worst thing. It's kind of what got me into libertarianism as well, even though I've kind of gone past it. And I'm trying to remember one of the guys' names there. He had started his own podcast. It's going to drive me crazy. Anyway, it was his first episode, and it was some, talking about people moving from New York and California to Texas and Florida specifically. And at the end, she said that New York is the most libertarian state, and specifically New York City. And it was aghast at that kind of comment. And she tried to justify it. It was so bad, I don't remember what it was.
But you are currently in the process of moving from Austin back to New York. And I guess I just want to end by asking, why New York? New York is not a cheap place to live. The taxes are not low. Tell me why you're moving back there, and we'll end there.
I think New York is the most libertarian city in America, which I know is something that gets me a lot of hate. Okay,
all right, tell me why New York is the most libertarian city in America, and then we're going to go.
Yeah. New York's the most libertarian city in America because it is a place of both an emphasis on order and laws, but also this lawlessness that just constantly flouts this attempt at establishing order. New York is a place where anything goes. New York is a place where there's rules that govern what you can and cannot bring on the subway. And guess what? Nobody adheres to them, ever. New York is a place where immigrants come to it and manage to, in some cases, flout licensing restrictions and zoning restrictions and build new businesses out of nothing. And whether it's the little old lady from Central America selling mango slices on the subway platform and ultimately sometimes getting hassled by NYPD for doing so for her gall, this is the American dream. It's such a pure distillation of it. The fact that you have this spontaneous order that you're constantly seeing, all these people, 8.5 million people who are managing to peacefully, not always peacefully, mostly peacefully coexist near each other, all pursuing the things that they love and value, and oftentimes pursuing profit, rubbing shoulders with each other and managing to, by and large, keep to themselves and go about pursuing their dreams. I think it's really incredible. I sort of wonder how many remittances are sent from New York, this hub of economic opportunity, back to, third world countries, developing countries. I wonder to what degree New York is this generator of wealth that people are able to tap into in all kinds of countries where one of their family members has immigrated to New York and managed to make something of themselves, and now the family's supported back home by it. So I see New York as this land of lawlessness. I see it as this land where immigrants can and do consistently pursue the things they value. And I see it as a place where, frankly, even the richest of people and the poorest of people are to some degree able to have this shared sense of New Yorkerness. They all go to bodegas. They all take advantage of the public parks like Central Park, which, yes, I guess having public parks isn't really a super libertarian thing. The fact that it's flat subway fare, although I would prefer for the subway system to be prioritized, I do think experimenting with it being flat fare allows people from even really, really far outer boroughs to access economic opportunity deep within the heart of Manhattan. And they're paying for it in time, but they're not paying for it in money the same way. So I see New York as this glorious experiment in dynamism and spontaneous order, and a really, really great example of how freaking awesome immigrants are. They make a lot of our lives better, and I think more and more cities should have this vibrance that New York does.
But that was people say a lot of dumb things. I do as well. But to claim that New York was a libertarian-esque, and it could have been because of they were more gay friendly or something. I don't even remember her reasons why.
So I just looked it up as quick as I could while you were saying that, and it was Liz Wolfe.
Okay.
I think that's who it was. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. Yeah. If I'm wrong, then I guess you can find me and punch me and all that good
No,
stuff.
I'm sure you're right. What'd you do did you say Liz, Reason magazine?
I literally looked up New York most libertarian.
Okay. I'm not wrong. I heard that, right? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that is kind of, I mean, I don't really get it. I suppose I don't really know. I'm sure she kind of tried to like get her point across, but I don't know.
It was Peter Suderman was the guy that anyway. Okay. I don't know what her point was. It was hilarious. That's all.
Would you choose the red, Trump, DeSantis, Taylor, Greene, or blue, AOC, Sanders, Warren side? Why? Thank you. Liz, you are the professional red-blue straddler of this group. Why don't you lead off?
Well, my revealed preferences indicate Team Blue because I live in this garbage hellscape of New York City where the M train leaves you stuck on the Williamsburg Bridge, suspended in midair for 10 fucking minutes. But I must say, fully Team Red, no shame there. The reasons are because just filed taxes, and during years where my husband and I have been living in Austin, you do all of the federal tax filing, and you get to the point in TurboTax where it says select your state, and you select Texas, and it says, okay, great, no state income tax, you're done. Or you select New York, and it takes longer than it actually took to file the federal income taxes, and it's miserable, and we end up owing New York a shit ton of money. It's absolutely awful. I have a 6-month-old child, and so, the stakes got higher. Now my decision as to where I want to base myself is less about what I personally enjoy and a little bit more about what type of future I want for him. And the fact of the matter is, in New York, he sleeps in a closet, which we're able to sort of cutely brand as like a mini room right now.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, how special. But at a certain point, like when he's 16 years old and 6'4", it's going to be a big problem, and it's going to look a lot like child abuse. So that's definitely something on my mind. The fact that, I'm asked for his pronouns when filling out daycare applications, when I just feel like I'm failing him because he cannot speak. And so I'm not able to fully understand what his pronouns are.
But you're using
but there feels
he
to be
right now.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll hate me for this and end up in therapy as a result of it. Even just dumb things like the fact that New York Department of Education has spent $200,000 over the last few years on a drag queen story hour in public schools and public libraries, which that's a tiny, tiny little minuscule bit of the Department of Education budget. And there is also an equally insidious and miserable form of that type of culture war nonsense that's happening in like Florida public schools, right? Like I don't want my kid to be a pawn in DeSantis's battle or in any New York State or city culture warring. All of this sounds so objectionable to me, and I find that Austin is the better mix of policies, and I feel like there's a certain amount of maybe higher likelihood of someday being able to take advantage of school choice if we're Texas-based versus New York-based. Ultimately, I would love to free my kid from a lot of this nonsense. I really dislike the amount of performative wokeness, culture war signaling that happens among a certain subset of Brooklyn parent culture. And that happens in all kinds of places. That would happen in a place like Florida, and I don't particularly want to opt into something like that. But I really do feel like Texas is a little bit better of a balance, and I am hopeful that someday in the future I can fully jump over to Team Red and pocket a lot more of my cash, and ideally, have a little bit of money funding that can follow my kid versus necessarily having to send him to public schools where they will be teaching him things that I don't necessarily agree with or think are age appropriate.